more police harassment. So I just left my job interview. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. So I'm going 60 miles an hour. This dude just got on the on-ramp. It's right back there. Well, you can't see it now. So I hate it when people merge onto traffic. When you, now I'm going 70 with cruise. I hate it when people, what do you call it? Force you to get on the on-ramp. Who is this? Gay cop. Force you to slow down. Because they want you to, they don't want to merge like they're supposed to. So when you get on the highway, you're supposed to speed up or slow down depending on the traffic around you. It's your responsibility. It's the driver who's trying to merge. It's their responsibility to what do you call it? It is a responsibility of the person getting onto the highway to slow down or speed up. To slow down or speed up. Right? Right. So that cop just did something that required the people on the highway to slow down for her. That's a bad cop. And also more harassment. I keep seeing that too. So as soon as recently, as I pass the on-ramp or as I'm getting off the on-ramp, I'm seeing police officers. So someone is trying to make a specific moment in time a recall for me. Like making sure something happens at a specific location or similar location, a very similar location repeatedly, so that you, the person who keeps seeing the same things at specific places, knows that they're not doing this for any other reason than for you to see it. You're recalling the location, you're recalling the location and the what do you call it? And the site at a similar location. So they're using an implant to stop me from telling you, but it's a repeating history. Someone wants you to see a repeat of history everywhere you go. Somebody wants you to see a repeat of history at different locations. So on this highway, you have to cut your speed. So on this particular highway, I always cut my speed. I don't need a police officer, which is the car with the brightest lights, right? I know you can see that big red truck, but right next to the car, right in front of the semi now, is a police officer. And on this highway, the speed drops from 70 to 50 and from 50 to 40. So right now the speed limit is 40. So most people, 100% of the time, they don't slow down. They never slow down to 40. I guarantee you. Most people on this highway, and now the cop is directly behind me. She was in this lane behind me, and now the police officer is directly behind me in this lane, behind this silver car. So, and these people are driving way too slow. Absolutely nobody on this highway right now will be traveling at 40 miles per hour. I promise you. They're all doing 50, 55, some doing 60. But nobody is traveling at 40 miles an hour. They don't do it. So they know there's a cop back there. So everybody's driving slowly. I always slow down on this road, no matter what. But I believe the police officer was there to ticket me on this particular highway because it's well known that people don't slow down on this highway. It is very well known that nobody ever slows down on this highway. Ever. Never, ever. And if I went with the flow of traffic, I bet you $1,000 that the officer, and now I'm trying to slow down, this car over this is slowing down too, to make it harder for me to make this right turn, right? So I started to slow down to like 30 miles an hour, which is what nobody does on this road. And that car slowed down too, to make it harder to make this right turn. You ever notice that when you're driving, people around you slowing down as much as you do when they know you're probably trying to make a turn? Yeah, they're harassing you. That person knows exactly where you're going, and they probably have an implant. Usually people continue at the same speed regardless of how much you slow down. They won't slow down with you. Unless they're trying to interfere with your turning or stay in your blind spot. Stay where you can't see you. You can't see them. But anyways, like I was saying, that cop was probably going to try to catch me speeding from a distance, from a far distance. To clock you at a distance and catch you speeding or refusing to slow down in the area she knows very well you have to slow down. But I always do. But what was interesting, everybody else slowed down a whole lot. I've never seen people drive the speed limit on that highway, that section of road, because they're so used to going 70 and it all looks like highway. It still looks like you're on the highway, right? But the speed limit goes down, so people think, hey, why do I have to slow down if it still looks like we're on the highway? But that's the reality. Oh, and another thing I usually see is that people cross this white line. So technically that car up ahead was not supposed to change lanes. This truck is not supposed to change lanes until right there, until these dotted lines come up. But a good way to cause an accident is to switch lanes when you're not supposed to. Or a good way to catch somebody off guard is, like, what if there was a cop right behind me and I decided to switch lanes during that straight line? They could pull you over and say, hey, you switched lanes back there. Even though everybody does it, like you just saw two people do it, everybody does it, you're not supposed to. What if that, so it's like a setup. So some officer is waiting at a moment where people do things they're not supposed to do. Lots of people do things they're not supposed to do to catch you doing the same thing and target you out of all these other people that constantly do the same thing all day long. For 10 hours of the day, the same thing takes place by thousands of people who drive on that road. They do the exact same thing, but the officer is waiting for you to do it. Timing when you are going to do it and watch you do it and to pull you over. It's harassment because you know lots of people do this. This is a common way people drive, but instead of allowing you to do what everybody else does, they target you. Because technically, somebody believes, well, not technically, logically, well, illogically thinks that if everyone around you is having sex with gay people or is connected to the gay community and you refuse to be connected to the gay community, or they'll say everyone around you is having sex, reproducing, or doing something that you aren't doing, it means if you want to do something everybody else does, you can't do that. So if you get it, so if you're not doing everything everybody else doing, you can't do, they're going to teach you, punish you because you're acting, well, there's something you won't do everybody else is doing. We're going to punish you for it. So instead of, because you aren't living the same life that all the other people are living, you can't do the same things everyone else is doing. So they're going to punish you because you refuse to do the same things everybody else is doing. And they time it. It's random to you, but it's strategized for them. They time when they believe you will violate the rules, or when they know lots of people violate the rules and you're passing through the same area, lots of people violate the rules, and they'll target you out of everybody else. They'll just say, I don't like you because you said or did something to me that made me pay attention to you, or there's something about you that I just chose to target out of everybody else who's doing the same thing. It's because they don't, somebody in town, somebody powerful, somebody the police officer really works for, the actual person the police officer works for. It's not the citizens, it's not the community, it's not the people around us. Well, the law, they don't actually work to uphold the law. They work to uphold somebody's opinion of you, somebody's desires to have something happen to you. That's what they work for. That's what a lot of police officers choose to work for, to violate, well, to work for somebody, to get an extra favoritism, socialism. And if you're socially accepted, you don't have to worry about violence, because the people who demand that you work for them were also the same people who would harm you if you didn't, if you chose not to work for them. So if you chose not to respect their right, well, do what they say, the same people who demand you act on their behalf would demand that you be harmed. So it's kind of like these police officers are choosing to be socially accepted in exchange for safe security, their own security. And the social acceptance of this by this small community of people is harassment is to harass. To be socially accepted by this small community, you have to the acceptance of this small community necessitates that they harass another community, so that this smaller community feels stronger, more powerful, more important, because they have people that can harm other people and they won't get caught for it. So they use police officers to do it. Use police to harm people that you want in your community, or who won't, so that will be a part of your social group. So it's either be a part of their social group or be harmed by the people in their social group. And the people in their social group are police officers. And these police officers don't uphold the law, they uphold the social group of people's desires to either force you into their community or to kick you out of their community, to force you in their community, or to harm you. And they use police officers as weapons to hurt people. So I'm going to a doctor and place, and I'm going to look at that. That's a constant view. Firefighters, paramedics, police officers. On my route, anywhere I go on my route, is a constant view of police officers, firefighters, and this Ford Explorer looks just like a cop, right? So you can use people who have Ford Explorers to imitate this. After you've seen enough police officers, you notice that these Ford Explorers also look like cops, and this person just slowed down a bunch. This person just slowed down a bunch to look like police officers, paramedics, like I just told you, firefighters, paramedics, to harass you, right? To look like harassment. So a good way to harass somebody and escape the gravity is to use something that they know looks like a cop car, to drive like a cop car, and then you drive. The person driving the vehicle, the person driving the vehicle drives just like a police officer. Have you seen some police officers who drive all square, drive very square, very aggressively? Now, if you put a person in the same car, same kind of car, and they drive just as square, just as aggressively, it looks like it's like an imitation of a police officer. It looks just like a cop car. Or the lights, or the head, things about that person are very, very similar. About the vehicle is very similar to a police vehicle. So if you want to harass somebody, you could even, at this point, you could just use people who drive similar cars to police officers, to police cruisers. And they get the same idea. So even though it's not a police car, you can still use it to harass them. Harass them because they're psychologically, they've been so, what do you call that? it's been so, and this too, people erratically changing lanes. That's been a constant view. Like Grand Theft Auto. So in Grand Theft Auto, you suddenly see a car change lanes, right? You're driving around in Grand Theft Auto, and suddenly a car switches lanes, right? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And what you see is a car switching lanes. So someone is trying to get me to think that at all times I'm in a video game called Grand Theft Auto, except the one problem is I don't live life like I am playing a character in Grand Theft Auto. But somebody thinks that I can be distracted enough or I can be harassed enough to believe I am in a video game. And if I believe I'm in a video game, I'll act like I'm in a video game, and you can just, every decision you make has no consequences, or you'll just start over, right? You start over, and the reality is you won't start over. So when you act that way in a video game, you're not going to have a chance to start over. You're going to have a chance to go, you're going to have consequences. They're going to be real consequences for your actions. But someone thinks I'm not in tune with gravity, so with the reality of our existence, that I'll choose to live life like I'm in a video game. And they're using implants to electrocute my genitals as I'm speaking, electrocute my ears as I'm speaking, and stop me from explaining myself well enough to tell you that life, what's occurring to me in real time. That looks absolutely, they just told me what's occurring to me in real time. It's not like a past. It's not like my, it's not like a history. That I can show you. This is not a, what do you call it? Oh crap! So it's not it's not something I can show you. What do you call it? All the things I've witnessed in life in one video. I can't show you everything I've ever seen within 2 seconds of this video. But if you were to live my life for years, you would know that everything I just said is very true. You would know that people are doing things erratically, but consistently. Erratic behavior, consistent erratic behavior at particular times that make you, that leads you, well, that you learn has to be strategic. It can't, this erratic behavior, consistent view of this erratic behavior will require stalking, because you wouldn't see erratic behavior that often unless you were being stalked. You wouldn't see police officers at intersections that often unless you were being stalked. You wouldn't see police officers driving down the road as lots of police officers wherever you go unless you were being harassed by that group of police officers. And to escape, to stop the police officers from being caught, you gotta move quickly. So if the harassment takes a half a second, but smart people, you can't escape the how fast people can think. So people think very quickly. They go into their memories and they recall that this is a constant view they've seen their whole lives. So people can think quickly, and they don't need what do you call it? They don't need they don't need a lot of to recall something doesn't take a lot of effort. So all you need is a quick harassment to remind somebody that they're being harassed, that they're being stalked. See, there you go, more harassment. Now it doesn't look like much to you, but it's imagine seeing that at a more strategic moment, like at an intersection, exactly when you got to an intersection. Strategic. So to turn something like what you just saw into something more strategic, you have to time it perfectly. or if you don't have the right timing, if the timing is off, it doesn't look like it's intended, right? It doesn't look like it's made for you. Like you are the person that they're trying to someone's not trying to get your attention. But if you were to do something at the right moment over and over again, the same moment, well, a different setting, but the same circumstances, perfectly timed, people would think you're repeating history, right? And they would know that in order to do what you just did, you have to stalk. They had to be stalked. Correct? That is correct. You'd have to be stalked in order to have the same experiences over and over again. Otherwise, nobody would ever. You would never they wouldn't be able to give you the same experiences over and over again. And they being this group of people, this group of gay community members who are trying to harass you and make you irritated as possible before you get to look at this. Look. Can you see? No, you can't see. Yeah, you can. Look. Paramedics at an intersection. I mean, it's not that close, but it's close enough, right? That's close enough, right? If they really wanted to, they'd be right there. They'd be the only cars right here. I'd be parked here, and they'd be right there. But anyways, so it's very easy. And look, there's a police officer. You see that? Right there. Holy shit. Strategic harassment. Oh, holy shit. Strategic harassment. Strategic harassment. So somebody was telling me as I was speaking to you guys that there you go turn left, you can turn right. And they would keep telling me, where are you gonna go while you wait for your appointment? Where are you gonna go? What are you gonna do while you wait for your appointment, your next appointment? So instead of allowing me to select from my memory where I could go, they're blocking me from going into my memories to find somewhere to go as I'm speaking to you. So you can still, so your short-term memory is, and your long-term memory would tell you everything around you that you've ever been to, that you know of at all times. You could take that away, and in exchange, you have like your at the moment memory. Any memory you have at the moment would tell you what you can still operate. You can still operate in the moment. So someone's not allowing you to think about your long-term memory. So this is a good place to go. They got Wi-Fi here, and you can hang out in there and play some video, upload some videos. So this is more harassment. So speeding past me. Have you ever noticed how often some people like to drive really quickly, switch lanes and hit the accelerator around you? And this is more harassment. So what the fuck are you doing? So cutting you off before you can complete your turn. Another form of harassment. So I should not have had to stop. I'm not supposed to stop so that someone else can complete that turn. That person was supposed to wait at the stop sign until I got close enough, or they were supposed to turn round, go straight and then turn. But they chose to cut the corner, so I couldn't complete my turn, or I would have to cut the corner as much as they did to complete the turn. And I'm sure you can go back and watch that. And they just told me in my ears, we're going to blame you for that. We're going to blame you for that. You were supposed to turn in. He could have cut the corners. You were supposed to turn in. I'm not supposed to turn in. I'm supposed to drive straight and turn when I feel like it. Turn when it's appropriate. So not turn in that lane. You can cut corners and turn in that lane to complete this turn, or you can drive forward and then turn when you won't cross into the incoming traffic lane, right? So I don't like to cut corners, but someone is teaching me with driving with the people who drive around me to cut corners. To cut the corners. So, without the right tool, they just told me when you were in school, you like to cut corners, you like to cheat, you didn't like to do all the work required. But if you don't have all the tools required to do the work that the school provides you, when you hand in your project, you're going to hand in half the work. Usually, you're going to hand in all the work you could do with all the tools you had. And like I said, if you don't have all the tools, you're not going to be able to complete all the work. You can take any assignment in life and from school, and sometimes you get these assignments that have like 20 different requirements to complete. It's like your big assignments, right? But some of those big assignments require purchases, people at your house to make purchases so you can have the tools to complete the assignment. Or they expect you to have the tools already at home, like a computer, a laptop, internet, all these cool things. I'm sorry about that. That's not my style of speaking. Someone just sped up my brain for a moment so I could talk faster. So they allowed me to speak almost as quickly as they did. But usually when you have the right tools at home, you can make the right choices. You can do the right thing at all times, right? Usually when you have the right tools at home, you can make the right choices. Correct? Correct. When you have the right tools, not the right choices, but when you have the right tools, you can complete your assignment the whole way. So if they called me, they just told me in my ears that when you handed in your assignments without completing them, you were cutting corners. Or you like to cut corners in school as often as possible. But like I just told them, without all the right tools, you can't complete all the assignments exactly the way they require. Because they require the right tools. And if you don't have them, you won't complete them exactly the way they're supposed to be completed. It is impossible. And they know that. People in school who hand out these assignments to kids who don't have the right tools, they are well aware that some of the kids in their school do not have the right tools. Or they, so when they hand you the assignment, they know you're not going to be able to turn it in and get an A. They know when they hand it to you, you will not get an A because you do not have everything required to complete the assignment. And after a couple of weeks, they know your grades are going to fail because you can't keep up without the right tools. Without the right timing, the right stuff at the right time, you will never keep up. So over a couple of weeks, they know your grades are going to fail. And technically, kids aren't supposed to go to that school. Kids aren't supposed to go to the schools where they don't have the right tools to graduate. So I went to a school that wasn't meant for a poor person without all the right tools. I went to schools that were for rich white kids in middle class homes who the school knew would have assignments, homework and tests designed for kids in a middle class neighborhood. So the school advanced with the education or with the financial standards, the finances of a neighborhood that would normally have all the tools required to complete the assignments. So being a very poor person who lived inside a school district of rich people, which every rich neighborhood has, they have to have room for poor people housing. Those poor kids are not going to be able to keep up with the school assignments without the right tools. So somebody designed the neighborhoods for that specific purpose. They made sure that there is an area for poor people in a rich neighborhoods. But they didn't make sure that the poor people had the same amount of tools as the rich kids and the richer children in that neighborhood. They made sure that those kids would fail. It's impossible. They advanced the homework. They advanced the education. So they also, because the neighborhood is wealthier, so they knew that the kids would have all the tools required for the advanced if they improved the requirements for their children's education, they also knew that the neighborhood would find the the people in that neighborhood would be able to get the tools required for the new to complete the assignments. So the everyday assignments and then the bigger assignments all have requirements, and it's very simple. It's computers, the internet, food, and parental assistance. So some assignments are a little bit ahead of the kids' life experiences, but they have parents who have the life experiences that would help their child with their assignments. So researching, you have a parent who's a good researcher who can help you navigate the internet, Google, and other really cool and that's what gay people do. They look over their right shoulder. So if you see somebody on camera looking over their left shoulder really quickly or looking over their right shoulder really quickly, that person has an implant, and they're also very gay. They're accusing you of homosexuality by looking over their right shoulder because they're saying, I have to protect myself because you might be trying to go after my butt. Or they're trying to antagonize you to think about going after their butt, even though you're not thinking about that. That's a gay person. So anytime you see somebody on video anywhere in the world looking over their left or right shoulder with aggression, that person is in the gay community. That person, I promise you, is in the gay community. But anyways, what I was saying was, what I was going to say was that you can easily harass people. Oh, the school requirements are improving, but the poor people in the neighborhood are not improving to keep up with the school assignments. So they know that this poor person is either going to have to navigate society to find favors, or they're going to fail. So one area of society that hands out favors is the gay community for sex in exchange for education. So that was my offer in life. Either I have sex. Well, my offer in life was to have sex with the gay community in exchange for favors, because nobody else is going to hand me the tools required to continue to learn unless I chose to have sex with gay people. So I refused to have sex with gay people. So I was never handed the tools required to, I refused to have sex with gay people, so I wasn't given the tools to improve or to meet the requirements and within to meet the requirements of a better or proving you can keep up with society's advancements. And also when I pass by people, I hear the words, "You're a rapist." To keep up with the requirements of school, I never had all the tools to keep up. So, and instead they taught you, well, you can commit rape, and we'll give you favors. And they teach young kids that commit rape, groom a child to commit rape, and then after 20 years or so, they've given you like gifts, like not from the same people who groomed you to commit rape, but from another group of people. And for no reason at all, they started handing you things. But then you associate one group with another. So the more you commit rape, not that I chose to make that decision, but the more you commit rape, the more often you'll get a gift. You get it from this other group. So somebody who's smart will see the connection eventually. So, so your friends are one group, and then another group is your family members. All of a sudden, your family shows up, and they have these gifts to give you, right? They have food. You come home, and there's a plate of food on the table. But yesterday you were just having sex with a gay person, or you were. These are good books. I read these, the Wolverine Origins. Those are good books. I used to come to the public library to read these comics all the time. Yeah, I used to read the Wolverine Origins stories. But one good way to hurt somebody is to groom. So you come home and there's a plate of food on the table, but everyone knows that you just committed rape. Well, everyone in the community knows you committed rape, but I don't know if you would call that rape if you're being groomed. So you use willing participants to teach somebody that rape culture is a part of life, right? You use tools to teach somebody that rape culture is a part of life, or if they chose to have sex with a boy, rape culture requires willing participants to teach someone that, hey, yeah, this is a way of life, or that some people like this style of sex. So you start using willing people to teach someone that rape culture is a part of life. And then eventually that person believes it and keeps participating in this same group of people. They don't know it. They don't know that these people are all the same. I mean, one friend leads to another, one associate leads to another associate, leads to another associate, and you're still in this circle of people who think rape culture is a part of life. That's the sex style they have. And eventually, you guys disappear. But this person doesn't know that he's not moving from one association and still in the same circle of people. They leave, you go, and the circle of people disappear, and you leave this person in the same circle who, in a different circle, with the same behavior. Now, some girl is actually going to be raped, and that person believes he's still in a willing, participating circle of people who believes it. So the girl's actually saying no, but he's thinking this is the same thing that, no, please don't. That type of knows, but this girl's actually panicking, crying. It may be a little worse, but then this guy would have to be retarded to not realize that this behavior is a lot different than any other behavior, unless they just told me in my ears, unless he actually progressed into a circle of people who are advancing the rape culture to it's almost no different than a full-fledged rape encounter with acting. And it's like you just groom somebody to commit rape and ignore a real woman's cries for rape that's outside of the pretending circle. That's one path to grooming. Another path to grooming is to advance this person in the gay community. So this kid, this little 10-year-old, starts having sex with little boys in the neighborhood, his age, or whatever. I don't know. They just told me, or younger in my ears. But you start having sex with people who are very young. Young people. You start this kid on a journey to have sex, to groom. It's groomers. They're pedophiles who want little boys to grow up to be just like them. There are gay men who see little boys and wish that these little boys who would grow up to be just like them. So how do you convince a child to grow up to have sex with gay men? You have to teach that child socialism. Like, if you hang out with these people, you'll get these gifts. These people are gay, but they don't show it on the surface. They hide it so that you would be willing to hang out with them. And once you start hanging out with them for a period of time, they start showing you more and more that they are gay. Slowly showing you things that tell you this person is gay. It's like they're gradually welcoming you, showing you things. And if you follow down that path over years, you start having, not years, it may not take years, but if you participate as they show you things, you get more gifts. So if you start having sex with those kids, you'll start getting gifts from the gay community. So now, as you're older, you'll be a part of the gay community. You'll actually have to show the world that you're gay. Well, at least now everyone around you knows that you're not heterosexual, that you are a gay person, and you've been willing to have sex with gay people for decades, and you have a lot of success, a lot of gifts from the gay community. And now there's no gay man in the community who's offended or afraid or challenged or upset that there's a straight guy in the community who's not gay and is challenging his identity as a gay person who doesn't want to be alone, right? Who doesn't want to think he's the only one who's attracted to other men. That's not what gay men like to think when they see straight people. So they don't want to see a straight face because it reminds them that there are people who are different. And that difference upsets gay people or gay men who don't want to think that they're the only ones who are attracted to men. I don't know. I wouldn't. If you're gay, you're gay. It doesn't make a difference, right? Who cares what other people think or how other people live their lives, right? Isn't that the psychology? Well, I don't care. They just told me if I was gay, I would think that I'd be upset about straight men. But the reality is, I would never be upset about a straight guy. That guy was just looking down here. The guy at the end, very, very, not the very end, but the light skinned guy who just moved his hands. That dude was just looking down here, and as soon as I turned my camera around, right before I did, he turned and stopped looking down here. But my point is, gay men get very, very upset that there's a straight guy nearby. And if they're teaching boys, well, they can't, he just told me that I have a psychology, I would have a psychology that I'd be upset that gay men there was a straight guy near me, and he wasn't having sex with dudes. Oh, it's about being penetrated. So there are people who get gay men who get upset that they have to be penetrated by another man, and there's a dude nearby who's not being penetrated by other dudes who they just flashed the image of a guy having sex with a penis in his mouth. With a penis in his mouth. They just told me, flashed an image of that in my eyes, of a man with a penis in his mouth, and I told him, that's pretty cool. They actually tell you if these rooms are reserved or not. So there's a guy with a penis in his mouth. That's what they just flashed. They just said if that was you and you were standing next to a guy who never had to do that, you'd be upset too. But I've always told these people this. Then the person who's upset about the guy who's not doing what he's doing doesn't like what they do. So the gay dude absolutely hates being gay or having anal sex or being penetrated by another man, or sucking some dude's penis. If he liked it, he wouldn't care what other people were doing. It's like straight men. They don't care about what other people do because they do the things they like to do. And if they didn't, they'd be upset with someone else who didn't have to do whatever it is the straight guy was doing, because the straight guy hated what he was doing. So the gay men who are upset about other people not doing, having anal sex or being penetrated by another man, those straight guys hate what they're doing or what's happening to them. And that's why they're upset with anybody around them who doesn't have to have the same experiences. If they liked it, they wouldn't care what other people were doing. But the reality is, these straight dudes, gay dudes, don't like what they're doing for some reason, and they're taking it out on other people. And they're teaching little boys to have the same terrible experiences they had. And teaching little boys to have the exact same experiences. Oh, more harassment. Holy crap, fire department. So I just came to the library. It's not police. It's firefighters. Holy crap. more harassment, dude. These people want me to record firefighters and police officers wherever they go. So they stalk you to make sure that wherever you go, you see police officers or firefighters. I refuse. I refuse to be an auditor. You know, the people who record police during police interactions, and I refuse. I also refuse to record firefighters or paramedics in their line of work. The purpose of my channel was to tell on the gay community about sexual harassment, implants, and stalking and inappropriate behavior. Look at that. And that dude was gay. That was a gay dude bent over. You see that? Holy crap, I didn't record that. Crap. But, so they just made me, they used technology to get me to miss that. Look, police. I'm at a location, and she just mouthed it's because you're gay. But I'm at a location, and guess who arrived? More police officers. So they use someone in the community to justify calling the police. But anyways, my point is that they want to change the purpose of my channel. I won't. I'm still telling. So what you do is you find somebody, you rape. The gay dudes in the community will will force children to have sex with other children using socialism, intimidation, violence, or you start as an infant and you make sure their parents don't protect them. So my grandmother didn't protect me from intimidation, violence, socialism, or give me financial assistance so I wouldn't see things I wanted, which would be a motivation to have sex with gay people, to have the things you wanted. So to have sex with a little boy next door or across town because he has video games and he's gay and he keeps doing gay things to you, but you want to play video games, or you stay home, or you choose to stay home and play with toys with no batteries. I mean, you could play with no video games. There are TV that has no channels, or read books. So the choice is yours. And they know that over time, so after 5, 10, 15 years, you would never, after 5, 10, or 15 years, you would, after like 5, 10, or 15 years, you would choose to, after 5, 10, or 15 years, you would get tired of staying home with nothing and watching the people around you have incredible life, especially if you're a kid. Kids usually don't have the best life experience. Well, kids usually don't have the patience. Well, kids usually like the things they see and they jump for them. Or they believe that, hey, I'll do a few things that are gay now to have a couple of the things I like. These are children. They don't think about it. And someone just countered my argument and they just said, well, that means you're gay. If you can't wait 15 years to have a television, you're gay. If you can't wait 15 years to play video games, you're gay. But these are children, right? So most children, they don't want to wait until they're 20 years old to play video games for the first time. Most children don't want to wait until they're 20 years old to most children don't want to wait until they're 20 to have video games. Most children don't want to wait until they're 20 to have a bowl of food. Most children don't want to wait to go on trips that they hear about other kids going on until they're 20 years old. Most kids prefer to have their toys when they're 5 years old. Most kids prefer to snowboard, bike, play basketball, play football, all these cool things kids like when they're kids. And when they're 20, it's too late. All those experiences are gone. You can't play football like you did in high school when you're 20 years old. And to play football, you need food. You need cleats, you need food, you need friends, you need lots of things to play video. Well, when you're 20, you don't play video games that much. You got a job, you get cool things to do. So most people who are aware of their maturity know that there are times in your life where you won't have the opportunity to do the same things you were supposed to do as a kid. So they jump on the opportunity to do so, and they say to themselves, when I'm older, I won't have sex with gay people anymore, right? Right? They say, I'm going to stop having, they think ahead. But what they didn't know that inside their body was a device to control their actions in the future or to interfere with their life in the future. So if they had sex with kids of the same sex when they were kids, when they turned 20 and they had the opportunity to make money for themselves for the first time, to have a good life on their own for the first time, instead of getting the handouts or the gifts in exchange, they could just get the gifts for themselves by working for the first time. Someone figured out how to make sure that kid continued to do what they did in the past for the rest of their lives. They used an implant. So once you stopped having sex with gay people, your genitals would be electrocuted, your ears would be electrocuted, the parts of your brain that you use to develop or to grow would be injured. So the most important things in life would be taken from you with an implant. And so now you have to go back to having sex with gay people in order to have the same things you had your whole life. Your brain, your ability to think, your ability to talk, your ability to do anything. You use an implant. You use an implant. And a community of people who will hurt you. To keep you afraid or to scare you into continuing to have sex with the gay community. It's incredible, right? I couldn't think this up. This is not my idea. This comes from experiences. I'm not built or designed to think of ways to hurt people and to never get in trouble for hurting somebody. I'm not that smart. I couldn't in a billion years think of a way to hurt somebody and never get caught. But I just told you exactly how to do it. If you were to use an implant or technology similar enough to an implant, you could constantly hurt somebody and never get caught. You could electrocute their genitals, electrocute their ears, electrocute their lungs, electrocute their heart, electrocute any pieces of their body they need to be a part of society, well, to improve. The parts of their bodies they need to improve or to cope or to exist or to enjoy life, electrocute those parts, take those parts from them, and they will not be able to have the best life they possibly wanted to have. They could possibly have. Use an implant or use a piece of technology very similar to an implant. I think it's an implant. I can't justify it a bit. They keep telling me in my ears, we're going to prove it's not an implant because there's no way that we put implants in infants without doctors or somebody discovering it. I swear it's an implant. I don't care what anybody else says. There's no way in the world you could do this without an implant. You can't electrocute someone's ears underwater. You can't speak to somebody through water. Like if you were to jump in a pool, there's absolutely no way you could still communicate with somebody with radio signals through wavelengths, like a wave, a beam of whatever the hell you're talking about. It's not going to penetrate the water. The way you could be positive 100% of the time that you are communicating with someone at will is if you put a device inside their bodies. so that at all times nothing will interfere with like the physical signal. So like you can twitch their ears, you can make their ears move, you can make their genitals move. I don't know if there's a radio signal that can cause your body parts to move at the press of a button. I think it requires a direct electrical current, like a current to your ears or like an implant to cause that to happen. That's what I think. That's what I think. I think you have to put an implant in their body. So whoever did this, whenever they did it quickly, and they hid their actions from society, or society allowed these actions. Whichever the case, either way, but there is an implant in my body that someone is using to stop me from talking to you the way I know I can speak, and to squeeze my lungs and squeeze my genitals as I'm speaking to you. It's an implant. And it's a tool to force people to be a part of the gay community that someone allowed into society. Well, people are afraid to, or people who do tell end up in jail or end up dead for telling. Or they get tired of the electrical, their genitals being electrocuted, or they get tired of people interfering with their sleep. They get tired of not being able to fall asleep, well, stopping them from falling asleep and talking to them before they go to sleep, or waking them up before they're supposed to wake up, like 20 minutes before your alarm goes off, or an hour before your alarm goes off, and telling you that we think you're gay, or somebody wanted you to stay up tonight, or somebody didn't want you to fall asleep, or somebody couldn't wait to talk to you until your alarm went off. Stupid, retarded things are messing with your dreams. So flashing videos of images while you're supposed to be dreaming inside your head, in front of your eyes. So if instead of a dream, you get this horrible nightmare that someone produced somehow with a freaking computer, or I don't know how they could create an image or a video or a movie for people to watch without a what do you call it? Without a how do you produce? So there has to be a new fashion, nothing I heard of, a way to produce a video that someone can watch and think that they were a part of the dream. So I think they did. I think it's a pre-produce. It's a pre-production. Well, it's produced, and then you are introduced as the focus point so it's your perspective, and you think you're a part of the dream. And then they play it in front of your mind, and they shut down parts of your brain where you rationalize, hey, this can't be real. And then when you try to change the dream that you should have power over, you can't. And you're fighting to change how things play out. But the dream is not a dream, it's a video. You can't change what somebody produced in a production room for you to watch. So that's what you spent all night watching and struggling to change in real time, and you didn't actually get any sleep. You actually weren't asleep. You were awake and watching a movie the whole time with your body motionless, unable to move, unable to wake up. It's a rape. It's a tool to torture. It's a torture tool to tell you, hey, if you want to have the best life experiences, you have to start having sex with gay people, and in exchange we'll give you something you were supposed to have your whole life. Your ability to dream, your ability to fall asleep, your ability to not be tortured or raped all night and day with an implant. So that's the tools that that the gay community uses on their own children to get them to grow up to be just like the gay men and women in the community who demand to never see someone who isn't having the same life experiences they're having for a selfish reason. Because I told these people several times, the men who are complaining about the people around them, the men and women who are complaining about the people around them are upset that there's somebody in the community who is not gay. There's somebody in the community who doesn't have to have anal sex like they do, because, I mean, if they liked it, again, if you like what you do, you wouldn't care who wasn't doing the same thing as you were. So the reason you hate straight men is because those straight guys don't have to be penetrated or don't have to have oral sex with other men like you do. And that's why you hate straight guys. And gay girls who hate straight women are probably upset that these girls don't have to be treated poorly like gay girls have to be treated. I mean, to have some dude put his penis inside your anus would be very upsetting to any woman, right? It would be very upsetting to lots of women if they witness other girls who don't have to be mistreated or hurt. I mean, I'm sure it's painful. It's probably a very painful experience to have some dude shove their penis inside their butts and then to walk around a girl in the community who this doesn't happen to is upsetting. So somebody figured out a way to hurt these girls, hurt straight girls, the same way the girls who are tortured at home or raped at home or mistreated at home, the same experience they have, they wanted to give to other girls. You use an implant. And if you wanted to justify it, you could come up with lies like, this girl, you act kind of aggressive, you must be a boy. This girl says you looked at another girl like you wanted what she had, and that must mean you're gay. Well, she might have looked at that girl because she thought, how the hell did that girl get body? How is she developing already? Or she's developing pretty early, or she's very attractive, she's very athletic, she's very tall, she's very built, and the gay community will turn that into a sexual attraction. You must be sexually attracted to the girl you're looking at and admiring, or judging, or stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's men and women in the gay community. How their perspective of the straight community is that they don't believe people are straight. They absolutely do not believe it. And they believe that there is some part of every straight person that is attracted to the same sex. And they will wait or not wait to tell lies. Either one, sometimes they wait, sometimes they don't, to tell lies about your behavior that must indicate you are a part of the gay community as much as they are. And if verbally they can't convince you, with violence they can't convince you to join, they'll resort to technology, something that nobody will believe, and eventually you will be in a position of pain that leads you to want to join the gay community, or leads you to hurt other people, or leads you to fail in life. And that's what we see on the news, the failures and of a particular person, and every word they spoke to protect themselves. Every single word they told to tell is hidden from the media, but the pain, the outcome of all their pain is what we see on the news. Because someone decided that the reality of their actions are too destructive to tell society or fix. the reality that this person was tortured with an implant or technological tool is too difficult to give to Americans, or too difficult to tell Americans what actually happened. So the person can either suffer for life and constantly fail, or the person can suffer for life, constantly fail, or that person can join the gay community. But we would never accept that this person was actually tortured because it's too harsh. It's too harsh for society to learn the truth, or it's too difficult to fix. Once the decision was made, it's as difficult to fix as slavery. They just told me it would cause another war. They just said, you're trying to say civil war. I want you to mention the word civil war. I want you to mention going back in time and all the lives that were lost to give black people freedom. You want us to repeat that history? You want us to have another war? But this time the war is going to be different. This time it wasn't for slaves. It won't be for slavery. It'll be for you to have sex with people who don't want to have sex with you. Because that's the purpose of the implant. The implant isn't to get people to go to work. We naturally go to work. We would naturally choose to go to work because we get a lot of benefits from working. More than the work required. So the benefits are greater than, you get paid thousands of dollars in a week. And that's usually way more than your bills. So, oh man, look at this. Look at this dude. The guy just exposed himself in the middle of the library. Yes, he did. Purposefully. He just bent over and exposed himself. I looked over and I knew he was going to expose himself. I just knew it. I knew he was. And then he did. He absolutely did, right after he did. But somebody wanted me to see that. A man with his butt pointed at me and exposing himself. But the gay community, and then to distract me from whatever it is I was just saying. So whatever I just said is very important. They just told me that I was talking about war. They just told me that I was talking about what war, or going to war if somebody were to tell that there were implants in people's bodies. But I don't think so. I don't think people are going to go to war. They're going to handle things exactly the way they used to handle things. They're going to tell people to stop putting the implants in people's bodies. We're gonna take the implants out. We're gonna sue people. People are going to jail. It's all it's all under control. Everything we do, see, or hear will constantly be under control. Because people love life. They wake up in the morning, they like going to work. They wake up in the morning, they like going to school. They wake up in the morning, they like doing the things they do every single day. And they're not going to destroy the society we live in because somebody did bad things, or somebody chose to hurt people for decades, or somebody chose to torture and rape someone in society. We're not going to change what we enjoy doing every day. So somebody is lying to me to tell me that no one is ever going to accept the reality that there's implants in people's bodies. And so telling is not going to change. Telling will be harsher, will be worse than living with reality the way it is. So fixing reality would be worse than constantly torturing and raping people across the country or world, which I don't believe. I think telling would be a better reality than continuing to torture and rape people across society. I think that's a better reality to live in. And someone said that it has purpose. The implants or controlling people have a purpose to keep society in order, or keep a balance, maintain a balance of gay people in the community. They have to continue to exist. Maintain the feeling. So a black guy born with strength, speed, stamina, and intelligence is not fair to a white guy who's only born with his intelligence. It's not fair to a white guy who's not born to be as fast as the black guy. But So homosexuality was thrown into the mix so that the white guy who's only born with his intelligence doesn't have to, who has something to critique or feel better about the black guy who's smart, strong, fast. He can also know that the black guy is gay. So if the black guy is gay, the white guy feels better because now he doesn't feel like he's diminished in any way by the black guy. So that's another motivation, but then that's a lie. No heterosexual man would want to see another person another man have sex with a dude. That's a gay dude. That dude is gay. So the guy who's pretending to be straight and complaining about the black guy who was born with all these cool things is actually gay. Because you would never in a million years, and I'm a straight guy and I'm telling you, no straight man would want to have another man have sex with another man. It's not something you want to watch. It's not something you want for anybody. So anybody accusing somebody of being gay or trying to get somebody to be gay or testing your sexuality, that man is not testing your sexuality. He is trying to get you to have sex with dudes or like having sex with dudes or used to the sexual imagery that gay men like him see all the time. So the purpose of my YouTube channel is to keep telling about sexual harassment from the gay community. As soon as I put this camera down, there's going to be events. Something's going to take place. I can't record 24/7, 24 hours out of the day. I can't keep a camera on, and I can't record what's happening beneath the surface of like what the things I hear that can't be recorded. Which somebody who's smart would get the point of putting the implant in someone's body so that you can say and do things to somebody that they can't record or they can't prove or they can't tell anyone. That's the purpose of the implant. And then the cameras that I do have don't record everything I see. So to my right, you know that there's things happening off camera. To my left, you know there's things happening off camera. And I can't turn the camera fast enough to see the things that are happening all around me. But you can harass somebody even if they hold a camera up all the time. Just do it very quickly. And when you see them point the camera at you, return to normal. You can stick your tongue out. You can make a discouraging facial feature. You can attract their attention from the side. You can do a lot of things, but what you can't do is be caught. You won't be caught unless they move quicker than you, which people can't move faster than you. Well, they have to move fast. They have to be really fast to catch harassment because it happens so quickly. Or there are things that people can say that the human ear will hear and the camera on their phone won't hear. So you can speak very quietly. You can speak with your mouth low. You can speak low enough that the human who walks past you will hear what you said, but the camera won't. So it's not that good. It doesn't pick up low volume. It picks up the loudest volume. Anything that's really loud. It has to be really loud or your phone won't hear it. And someone just told me the cameras are just as good as a human ear. And I know for a fact these cameras are not as good as the human ear. So I know it's true. I know it's impossible for the camera to pick up everything that people say or hear. So I know it's impossible. I know it's impossible for your phone's camera to pick up every single noise that the human ear can hear. So to my right, I can hear this woman talking. I can hear her talking. She is talking on her phone. I think you can tell she's on her phone. And when she speaks, I can hear her talking, but I'm sure this phone that's recording right now can absolutely not hear that woman, what she's saying. But that's my point. So you walk past someone, they mention, you're gay. You're a fag. Gay. Rapist. As you walk past them, but your phone's camera, even if it's on, will not be recording when you hear or see these people. When you hear or see these people. When you hear or see these people talking, right? Right. That's right. So you put the implant inside the person's body to torture them and rape them, and you don't give them the tools to catch somebody saying harassing words or making harassing facial features or making harassing gestures to give someone the impression they're being stalked or followed or community harassment. Gay community harassment can't be caught. So while someone's being hurt by the gay community somewhere else, the gay community is projecting that they're good people. They only want to help people. They only want to do the right thing for people somewhere else. And this is how you get two things to happen at the same time. So, or you get to do bad things because no one's telling, and there is no evidence of what they're experiencing. So the rest of the gay community isn't harmed by the actions that lots of gay community members know is occurring somewhere else. It's incredible, right? So you act like nothing's wrong in real time, but as soon as the camera goes down, as soon as people stop looking, you do terrible things that people don't like, that people know is meant for them, and it's harassment for that person. It's harassment or terrorism or fear or stalking or knowledge that they have that these events are meant for them to experience. These events were meant for them to experience. And that's what implants facilitate. So if you know where a person's going to be and you have implants in the people around them, wherever they're going or on their route to where they're going, you can effectively stalk, intimidate, use violence, and scare people. And if you're electrocuting their body parts, if you're electrocuting their ears, you weigh down put pressure on their brain, on the parts of their brain they use every day, the parts of their brain they can utilize to speak or to do whatever they want to do or to live the best life possible, to interfere with their brain in certain ways. You can aggravate them, you can make them mad, and you can make them want to kill somebody or kill someone else because they're tired of the harassment and the torture and the bad things that are happening to them. So you aggravate them to do or say something that's violent and that they can get in trouble for, but the reality is they're being tortured with an implant which no one is accepting as reality. No one is going to investigate because of the consequences of acknowledging the reality that there's an implant inside their bodies that somebody has been using to torture and rape them for years. And that's what society has allowed to happen, because the truth is these people were after sex the whole time. They weren't after government order or society order. They were using these implants to force people to have sex with them and calling it a tool to improve American society. A tool to get people to work, a tool to get people to be satisfied, a tool to get people to make the right choices. And the right choices have always, and their opinion of the right choices has been to have sex with the right people. So you're getting people to have sex with you against their will with the tool that no one in authority will acknowledge exists. But again, my argument, I can't think of these things. I'm not smart. I have an associate's degree in liberal arts. I have a 3.7 GPA. I have no history of good grades. I'm not intelligent. I'm not on the list of intelligent people in society. I can't think of a way to hurt somebody and get away with it because I have no tools to discover this. I have no way, no ability to hurt people and never get caught. I didn't think of this. Somebody who did have the tools, who did have the education, thought of this, did these things to me, and I am now telling everyone who watches this video that there's an implant in my body that somebody's been using to electrocute my genitals, electrocute my ears, electrocute my lungs, my heart, and everything I use to speak to stop me from living the life they don't want me to live, and to keep me from being able to tell somebody with any reasonable credence, reasonable support, confidence, with any confidence that I'm telling the truth. So there's a rapist, and someone just yelled out, "You're still gay." So even if I just told the truth, there's a community of gay people who believe I must still be gay because a pedophile managed to rape me as a child using another child to be him. So they use an implant in a child to give him the experiences, give the child the experiences of an adult pedophile to get another child to have sex with the child that was used by the adult pedophile. So that's what pedophiles resorted to. So they don't get caught. They use children with implants, and they grow their genitals, and they tell other kids, if you want a girl to like you, you got to do what I do so that I can get your genitals to grow. And if your genitals grow, girls will like you. But the girls he's referring to are girls in the gay community who lie and say they prefer larger penises because it feels better. And the tool they're using to grow your genitals is the implant inside your body. So this is how you convince children to have sex with gay people. And then you use a stigma that anytime that works, anytime any of the efforts a pedophile puts in by using another child or being the pedophile themselves or having sex with the child themselves, anytime that works, the child must be gay for the rest of their lives. So somebody in the gay community will treat that child like they are gay for the rest of their lives. They'll mistreat them, they'll harass them, they'll insult them, they'll hurt them, they'll do bad things to that person because they believe that person is gay for the rest of their lives. They don't believe in child rape. They don't believe that a child who said no and was later groomed, abused, intimidated, mistreated, leveraged, any of the tricks that the pedophile community has to convince a child to have sex with a gay person can be considered child rape. It can't be called child rape. None of that behavior is child rape. It's not considered rape if any of the tricks they use is ever gets a child to have sex with a child of the same sex. It is child rape. It's not a trick. It's not a tool. It's not a test. It is leverage. It's intimidation. It is buying. It is buying sex. It is torture. It is withholding life. There are many different tools you can use to commit rape. You don't have to use violence, or you can use violence. Rape can be committed with leverage, intimidation, socialism, pressure, lots of different tools you can use to commit rape on a child. And it's a lot easier because the child doesn't have experiences to help them fight all these new tools that an adult all these tools that an adult found over 40 or 50 years of life to get somebody to have sex with them. So you throw 50 years of life at a 2-year-old, at a 3-year-old, at a 4-year-old, and one of those tools is going to work to convince an infant to have sex with another kid of the same sex. And then you lie, and then you scare people from listening to the infant or listening to the adult who is telling you that someone found a new way. Oh,